During the Emmanuel Haro press conference earlier today, officials were calling out people who are reporting on the story. They were calling them keyboard warriors. They were criticizing them for spreading information. They were saying that, everyone just needs to let them do their job. And in most cases, or in a lot of cases, I side with law enforcement on this. But in this case, let's be real, folks. It's California. I think that cases like the Emmanuel Haro case, they need eyes on them. You need people talking. You need the attention. Or else the wrongdoers in these cases aren't held accountable. The sheriff, the DA, all of these people, they can come on the press conferences and they can put up that tough guy act the way that they always do. But the reality is they're not tough on crime. If they were as tough on crime as they are in their press conferences, Jake would have been behind bars for what he did to his daughter. So I understand that, we need to let law enforcement and investigators do their job. I understand that. I've spoken out about certain things that were happening in this case, like people breaking into Emmanuel's home, walking around these active crime scenes in areas where law enforcement was searching. I have no problem calling certain stuff out, but at the same time, we have to hold law enforcement accountable as well. And the reality is, when people hurt kids in that area of the country, they aren't even really given a slap on the wrist. Jake left a kid basically a vegetable and got probation and served like 1 day in jail. So I don't want to hear the tough guy talk from any law enforcement officials, judges, or anyone else out in California. Because if this case did not get the publicity that it's getting, who knows? Jake and Rebecca may have been given a slap on the wrist again. But I understand, with that being said, I somewhat understand where they're coming from as well. I understand their frustration, just like I understand my own frustration and the frustration other people feel with law enforcement out in that area of the country. Now, On the Tira was at the press conference, and as the media was asking questions, he got a chance to ask a question as well, and you could tell that this kind of ticked them off. I want to go ahead and show you what I'm talking about really quickly, but before I do, people often ask, how can they support the channel? And the answer to that question is very simple. You can support the channel for free, easy, and quick by simply liking the video. Hit that thumbs up, share the video on social media, subscribe if you haven't already, drop a comment below, become part of the conversation, and if you want to take your support one step further, you could always donate via Cash App or Super Thanks. Never mandatory, but always greatly appreciated. Now, with that being said, I want to roll this clip in question, and then I'll be right back with more.
I'm going to exhaust. Yes, sir.
Sir, forgive me. Emmanuel on the Tira. I've been working this case diligently. I have a two-part question.
No, one question, sir. One question.
One question. Thank you. Did you say that you do know where the remains are? Can you
I didn't say that, sir.
I'm sorry. Forgive me.
I didn't say I know where the remains are.
Can you tell us, in fact, a little bit more detail so that if you do know anything, can I stop looking? Please? Because I'm in this every day. No disrespect, trust me. I understand who you are. But can you please, if you have information here where you know something, can you please, so I can get some rest?
Well, you should get some rest, sir.
Thank you.
You should get some rest. But no, I can't share with you anything.
That's fine.
Look, there are professionals that are looking for the remains of this child. If the public has any information, then we ask for their help. So we don't know exactly where the remains are. We have some ideas in terms of where we're going to look and where we're going to continue to investigate.
So you see how he acts after Ahmed gets done asking his question? He's got that smirk on his face. He's being condescending. He's not taking Ahmed seriously. And like I was saying before I rolled the clip, I get both sides here. I get why law enforcement is frustrated. by people, doing certain things in this case and maybe, getting in the middle of this investigation. But I also understand why the public is frustrated. You got to understand, for some of you all living in different places in America, you don't have the problem that these people have out there. A lot of these people are growing desperate because violent criminals are arrested and then they're released right back out on the streets. Or in often cases, they're not even arrested. People are getting away with all types of stuff out there. And I feel like people are getting desperate. And some of them feel like they got to take matters into their own hands in order for stories to be reported on, or in order for missing kids to be found, or in order for people to be held accountable for the crazy, outrageous things that they're doing out there. So I understand the frustration on both sides. But that's not all that happened in court, because someone else came up to the microphone, and you can tell that a lot of the stuff that they were saying is kind of directly aimed at Ahmed. I want to go ahead and show this clip really quickly, and then I'll be right back once again with more.
That and to the question before. A problem that we are having in this, basically even on the question that was asked 2 questions ago, is someone posts something on social media and then you all believe that it's true. I actually complimented the mainstream media because you've actually been reaching out to us for comment and actually been printing what we've told you. It hasn't been the sensationalism and the wants for clicks for social media. And that is doing nothing but harming this investigation. And when you form your opinion and come in here and ask questions like that, you're not serving the public in any way. The question way earlier, get some rest. There should be no one out there looking for baby Emmanuel except for us, because all you're going to do is complicate things in the future. And the one thing that I emphasize that I want to make it clear here, the reason this is happening relatively quickly and the reason why we got such a handle on this fast is I believe that the Inland Empire is served better by their 2 sheriff's offices than any place in the state. And this particular case doubled its efforts. So instead of having 4,500 people looking for baby Emmanuel, you had 9,000. And so how did we get all of this information? It's called investigation. And we have 2 entire departments doing nothing but sifting through evidence, searching for evidence, trying to figure out what happened, who was responsible, and how we're going to successfully prosecute it. And misinformation, lies, and purposeful misdirection is going to do nothing but harm this investigation. And I am begging all of you with cameras out here, don't be a part of it.
So as you heard, he referenced something that Ahmed said earlier in the press conference. So by doing that, he made it very clear that a lot of these comments, a lot of what he was saying was basically directly aimed at Ahmed. And he did this on national television. And I think Ahmed is upset about this. And as I was saying earlier on in this video, I understand the frustration on both sides. But law enforcement, these officials up there doing their little press conference, they need to question why. Why does the general public feel the need to be out here looking for Emmanuel? Why does the public feel the need to resort to other forms of media to get their information? People don't trust the DA. They don't trust prosecutors. They don't trust law enforcement. They don't trust the judges or the legal system. They don't trust the mainstream media. And that is a result of their failures, not ours. You wouldn't have to be watching my video right now if you could trust the media. We wouldn't have to ask questions about this investigation. I wouldn't be working overtime every day to bring awareness to this case if we could rely on the judge and the prosecutors and law enforcement and everyone involved to do the right thing. The problem is, when people aren't paying attention, these judges are just catch and release. Oh, you gave a kid brain damage? We'll let you out in a day or so. Oh, you killed that kid? Who cares? They sweep a lot of this stuff under the rug. So, investigators, you could have 9,000 investigators. Like you said, we got 9,000 people working on this case, right? You could do the most solid, you could have the best investigation ever. It doesn't matter how good of an investigation you conduct. If at the end of the day, the judge just says, hey, no one really cares, no one's paying any mind, no one's paying any attention, slap on the wrist, suspended sentence, you can go home. Right? No matter what kind of investigation you conducted, if at the end of the day, these people aren't being given prison time, or not real time anyway. So there is a need for cameras. There's a need for people talking. There's a need for attention. And I understand, like I said, that it's frustrating. And we're in this new day and age, and law enforcement and investigators, I think they're going to have to start accepting that. Because at the end of the day, I can complain, you can complain, and they can complain. It's not going to change anything. People are going to go out there if they want to regardless. So if you want less people to do this, then give people less of a reason. Make people confident in law enforcement and the legal system again. Make people confident that people want to believe that, hey, if someone gets caught doing a horrible thing to a kid, proper justice is going to be served. Instill that confidence within people, and you won't see as many people out here with the cameras in front of houses and all of that. But as I mentioned on the Tira, or Ahmed, he's not really happy about what was said, and he spoke out in a little clip. I want to go ahead and roll that clip so you can hear what he has to say, because we heard what law enforcement has to say. Let's hear what he has to say, and then I'll be right back.
Hey guys, Ahmed Belloso here on the Tira, homie, with just PSA for all you sick ass fools out there. Unfortunately, I have been asked to retract everything from the Emmanuel Haro case, homie, and so I'm gonna listen to our good old sheriff, homie, on the Tira. I will pull myself out of the case, but at the same time, you are not allowed to use any of my videos at all for evidence, homie, unless subpoenaed by a court of law. He dicho, caso cerrado, Ahmed Belloso, and I do not support Chad Bianco, homie. Go watch the interview in the World Process News, homie. If I smell like shit, Spence on the Tira, dog, but the sheriff smeared me to my face, dog, in front of God and everybody, homie. And so it's okay. Do you, boo? Do you? How you doing? Bendy Williams has left the chat, and I do not support Chad Bianco in any way, shape, or form. On the Tira, homie. No further questions.
Look, I've already explained that I understand the frustration on both sides in this case, because I feel frustration as well, and I know a lot of my audience does too. As far as Ahmed goes, I've been following this case closely. I've been watching. I have no problem calling things out. And as far as I have seen, and I haven't seen every single thing, but as far as I have seen, Ahmed, or on the Tira, he has been right. Most of his information, turns out most of the info that he has shared is true. Has he gotten some things wrong or been a little bit off about some things? Sure, anyone would be. The mainstream media is spreading lies about this case right now. Lies that were debunked during the press conference. So if law enforcement wants to direct their frustrations anywhere, I think they need to direct their frustrations at the mainstream media, who after the press conference decided to double down on false information about Jake confessing and to take things one step further. If law enforcement wants to do something about people who are interfering in this case, instead of wasting time calling out people like Ahmed, I think they should worry about the people who are breaking into Emmanuel's home. Multiple people have broken into the home. They were on live streams doing house tours. Nothing has been done to those people. You got crackheads running around setting the neighbors' houses on fire. I think they should focus their energy on stuff like that instead of people like Ahmed. And if they focused their energy on stuff like that, maybe crime wouldn't be as bad in that area. But hey, I'm sure you guys will agree and disagree with certain things I said in this video. Feel free to let me know what you think about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.